I'm not sure from the reports that I've read and received whether it was a depth gauge, a trim gauge, which keeps the attitude of the submarines level, or indeed an angle of dive gauge. But what can be said is that all these systems have backup redundancy systems that actually make sure that you can check whether something is working or not. Indeed, some of them have indicators which say, look, I'm not working at the moment. You need to not pay attention to what I'm saying. On a ballistic missile submarine like this, you have high levels of redundancy. And I suspect as soon as it failed, it would have been obvious to the command team that that was the case. And another system would have said, here's the correct depth gauge. I think it's very interesting in nuclear submarines. We have a thing called a need-to-know basis. So something that would have looked alarming perhaps to a junior operator, in fact, would have been part of normal operation to the command team and also the seniors. So we shouldn't be too worried about this. Of course, it's a ballistic missile submarine with Trident missiles, so everything in relation to safety is important. But I think this was minor compared with some of the other things that could happen underwater. Depending on where this took place, I don't think a salvage mission would be actually feasible. I think we've seen in the past, in the depths of the ocean, it's incredibly difficult to get down to these things. Only the Americans really have the capability. And our experience in the past with nuclear submarines, particularly Russian ones, which have foundered, is we actually leave them in place. When you have a nuclear reactor, the best thing you can do is actually provide it with pressure and cooling, and the best place to provide it with pressure and cooling is in the depths of the ocean. And there are several Russian nuclear submarines around the North Atlantic and into the Arctic Ocean that foundered during the Cold War and are still there. What makes this one different, of course, is it would have Trident ballistic missiles in, and that is something we really wouldn't want other people interfering with or attempting to salvage.